Hey guys, this is Kathy with Kathy's Crafty Creations and DIYs. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. We are tickled pink. You were supposed to do that with me. Guys, we are tickled pink that you're here. He's just upset because he said that all week Penny P.O. got more attention than he did in the last video. So he's been really depressed. He's not talking much, and I don't know what's up with him. But guys, this week I've been working hard on some spring farmhouse for you. It is pouring cats and dogs outside here in Tennessee. The weather's ugly. My hair is a mess. But let's just don't worry about anything. Let's just forget about everything. Let's spend some time together. And let's jump into that farmhouse and see what old Kathy and Savvy's been churning up for you this week. How about it?
Y'all never mind me. I'm just being silly.
DIY number one, I have a watering can that I got from a thrift store. As you can see, it has different fruit and vegetables all over it. And we're going to farm it up, guys. We're going to get some Rust-Oleum chiffon cream, and we're going to give it a good coat and see what it does. I love the color of the chiffon cream, but as you can see, as I was going over this watering can, I noticed, you see the can has the fruits and the vegetables are like riveted out in there. You can see them, like when you paint, you can still see the corn. You can still see the watermelon. And I didn't like that. So I thought, how are we going to cover that up? Guess what Mama's going to do? I'm going to pull out my little mixture that I make where I put 1 part baking soda to my 1 part paint. It's my concoction because I don't know what else it's called. And I decided after I do 1 good coat with that chiffon cream that I'm going to pull that out and we're going to see if we can cover that up. I made sure to go about halfway down inside that can just in case you can see later on. I need my concoction to be real thick so it can cover up those divots in that watering can. I've got 1 part baking soda to 1 part chalk paint. Do you see how thick this is? It won't even pour off that popsicle stick, and that's exactly how thick I want it. So at first I started applying it with that popsicle stick, and I smeared it on kind of like cake icing. Now when this stuff dries, it's going to give us the appearance of like pottery or like, you know, kind of like terracotta is what it puts me in the mind of. The feel and the look of terracotta. That's exactly what I'm going for. So in order to kind of smooth everything out, I used my paintbrush and I covered everything on this watering can with it. So after I painted it, I left it alone for the rest of the night, and the next morning I started back on this. So I've got me a napkin, and it says, "Hello, Spring." It is so cute. I got it off of eBay. And once again, this is where I get most of my napkins that I do my decoupaging. And you can get 2 napkins for like $2. But remember, that's really 8 scenes because each napkin has 4 scenes on it, if you see what I'm saying there. It has 4 trucks on each napkin. And so you want 1 ply in order for it to stick when you're doing decoupage. Most napkins have 2 ply. Do you see me tearing this apart? I'm tearing that 2nd ply off. We only work with the 1 ply. I use my fingers to go around in a circle.
Just gave it 2 coats to cover up the black. I have this purple birdhouse. I'm not sure where it came from, and I wanted to paint it blue. I kind of wanted it to go with the truck, you know, on the little flowering can that we did a minute ago, so everything would look cohesive. So I used my primary blue color and a color called Aqua Sky, and I mixed them to come up with this beautiful blue color, and it's very springy looking, and it matches that truck on that little napkin that we used a minute ago perfectly. So I gave my birdhouse 2 good coats of this. I dried it in between coats with my little handy dandy craft dryer, and I always link those in my Amazon store below in case you need one. I used the color Aqua Sky, which was the lighter of the blues, to distress the birdhouse with, and I went over that with my chippy brush to make the little distress marks. Most of the time when I distress something, I just barely am touching it and going back and forth really fast with my brush. I also distressed the bottom, the little round piece here, with mineral, and also a small touch of the color Steel. Both are by Waverly. And then I get my black chalkboard paint here, and it's got water mixed in with it. It's the chalkboard paint from the Dollar General with water, and I ran it across the top of the roof, as you see, because I wanted a very light black color. And I used the baby wipe that I'm wiping it off with to go down the sides. And baby wipe is a really good thing to paint with a lot of times. I showed my fingernails how dirty they got. And I took my hot glue gun and I popped one of those small wreaths. Remember the wreaths that I got from Amazon? There was like 12 of them, and that's one of those. And I put down some of that Spanish moss inside the little bird nest to make it look real. And then I put just a few little drops of the green grass in there. And I glued my birdhouse down. And I put hot glue all the way around the bottom of this birdhouse. And I put down that green moss all around it. But I didn't use too much because, you know, I really don't like working much with that stuff because it's so messy and gets everywhere. At first I was going to use these eggs that came from the Dollar General, but then I changed my mind later, you'll see. And I've got this little bird that came from the Dollar General here. Originally it was blue and I had painted it white. We're going to take some of our Waverly antique wax that's got water mixed in with it, and I am simply going to run this over my bird, and it's going to get down in the cracks and just ever so slightly distress that bird. It's going to distress her, but just very, very lightly. Okay, so I've got a couple of the hydrangeas that came from the Dollar Tree, and I just plucked the little buds off there, and I'm going to put a couple on each side of the birdhouse. Then I took 3 of the little terracotta pots, those little tiny ones, and I placed them on the sides of the little bird's nest. Everybody loved those things, by the way. Then I have a little wreath here, and it came off of something else. I'm not sure what it came off of, but I shaped it to make it a little bit smaller, and then I glued it around the opening of the bird's nest, or the bird's house, I'm sorry. I decided not to use those big eggs, so I made my own. I had some clay that come from the Dollar Tree, and I just took a tiny little piece and rolled it into the shape of an egg, and I made 4 of them. And I took little tiny pieces of boxwood that comes from Walmart, and I made like little plants out of them. Is this not the sweetest little mama bird you've ever seen? And guys, as usual, I will link those little wreaths and the flower pots down in the description box below. Both of them are from Amazon. Hey, if you're new to my channel or if you just haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And there's a little bell beside it. Ring that and hit the word all so you can see all of my videos as soon as they come out. Guys, I would love to have you be a part of our little family here on YouTube. So let's just jump right into DIY number 3. We're going to put all our eggs in one basket. My husband got this basket at the thrift store and it had the wooden eggs with it too. And this basket is so super duper heavy. It's like those old metal baskets that women used to put their eggs in. Okay, so I've got my chalkboard paint that comes from the Dollar General store, and all I'm going to do is give this basket a good coat. It's still in perfect condition, it just needs a good coat of fresh paint. This is a very thick, sturdy, hard metal basket, and I'm very proud that he found this because you don't see these around anymore. So all I did was give that a good coat of paint. And we're going to move on to the eggs. I've got my Waverly Antique Wax, and there are 6 of these wooden eggs. So I'm going to stain every one of these eggs, and I'm just going to wipe the stain off after I put it on with a baby wipe. Since I just very lightly stained these eggs, it didn't take them long to dry. And then I got the idea that I wanted to make some scripture eggs. And what that is where I get my red back hymnal book back out again, like I used last week, my song book, and I'm going to take the pages from that book and I'm going to put them, Mod Podge them onto some of these eggs. I bought the pages out of this book from eBay. A lady was going to just toss them, and I was like, no, you don't throw anything that has to do with like the Lord or, you know, even song books. You don't toss that away. It's not garbage. So I got those from her, and I do still use them, you know, in my DIYs. So I feel like I am using them, you know, and not just tossing them away. So basically what you do is you just take tiny pieces of the songbook. You just tear little pieces off, you put your Mod Podge down, and then I like to use my finger to rub over the Mod Podge because it gets in there evenly. It gets the little bumps out, because when you put it down, you'll have like a little ridge or like a little bump come up, and you just use your finger to smooth it out. I do use my paintbrush to put the Mod Podge on, but then I use my finger, like I said, to push the bubbles out. These are farmhouse, guys. So I take that piece of jute rope that has the wire around it. Now, I can only find these at certain times at Dollar Tree. I can't find them all the time. But I just cut off a piece that would be long enough to wrap it around there. And I simply just like crossed it over itself and cut it. That's all I did with my wire cutters. And does this not look like, I don't know if any of y'all had an old Southern grandma, but this just reminds me of what she would have sitting up on her table with her eggs, the fresh eggs, because fresh eggs, you don't have to put them in the fridge. You can, but you don't have to. And they would sit on the table. And that's what that reminds me of, that good old Southern farmhouse woman, old woman. I just love it. When I see stuff like this, it brings back so many memories of my grandmother. So I'm going to show you what it looks like with the eggs in it. I could still read a little bit of a scripture on that egg or a little bit of the words, and I seen one part said, "Up there will never be hungry," and it also said, "The old will be young again." Thank you, Lord, for that. Because, boy, when you get to be my age, you start feeling them aches and pains. You know what I'm saying? Is this not just beautiful, though? And I think that was very just simple. The way that I twisted it in the front, I wanted it simple because it just was an old, simple farmhouse basket. I also put that little jute twine carrot that I made in there. That was very easy to make. I hope y'all enjoy these, guys. We're moving right along to number 4. Wheelbarrow and carrots. I got this old wheelbarrow at a thrift store for like $1.99, or my husband did actually. He always finds the good stuff. I've got my Rust-Oleum chiffon cream, and after I got the little metal pumpkins off the side of it, I had to pry them off. I'm going to give it 2 coats of my chiffon cream. The places where there was little pieces of metal like down the sides, I just left that alone because we're going to paint that black anyway. So I just left that alone. I just want to thank you guys again for the outpouring of love that you've been showing to me and to my channel. You know, and a lot of people have been thanking me for praying for them or whatever. It's the least I can do, guys. If I can make somebody happy, if I can make them smile, I will do anything I can to make somebody else feel good, because I know what it feels to be the one that's down in the dumps and feel depressed and feel like your problem is never going to go away. But guys, I mean, it feels so good when you're on the other side of it and you say, "Oh, thank God I did make it through that." And the only way that we can make it through anything is with the Lord. I don't know how people who don't have Him in their life can get through just day to day even, because, I mean, times are hard right now. We all need somebody, and He is that friend that sticks closer than a brother. He's always right there beside you, and as long as you've got Him, you are not alone. And guys, as long as you've got me, you're not alone. Anything that anybody wants to talk to me about, I'll be there for you. I do not mind. Trust me, I do not mind at all. Hey, we all need a shoulder to cry on every once in a while. So, guys, I'm here for you, and I thank you. I have very loyal subscribers that are loyal to me, and I want you to know that I'm loyal to you too. Hey, if y'all have not subscribed to my channel yet, y'all need to hit that little red subscribe button, by the way, and subscribe, because I want y'all to be a part of our family here on YouTube. I took my little black chalkboard paint and I went down the sides right there where it is metal, and then I was like, it still looks plain. So I got my little these little jewel, I think they're called jewel stones or something like that. They're from the Dollar Tree, and I just put it right down the side right there. They stick to anything. They're super. So I stuck them down the sides, and I stuck them down each of those little pieces of metal that's going down there on the side. And it still wasn't giving me the look I want, so I was like, what am I going to do? So I grabbed my good old trusty chalkboard black paint, And I painted them suckers because any of these little jeweled stones that looks like this, when you paint them, they just pop. They look so good and looks better in person even than it does on camera. I took my white wax that's from Home Decor Company. You can use any kind of white wax, by the way, as long as it's white wax. And I went over with a baby wipe over that black. It just gave it a white haze is kind of all it did, in case you're wondering. I mean, it was not a big, huge difference. It was just a subtle difference, but it was enough to give it a little bit of a something something. You know what I mean? I took my Waverly mineral color chalk paint, and I'm going to distress it with this because the wagon still didn't look, you know, old enough to me, and I wanted to make it just a little bit older looking and more distressed. I guess since I look a little bit older and a lot distressed, I'm going to try to make everything else look like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're so funny.
Oh, don't act like you didn't know my little chicken baby was going to be in this video. She makes her appearance in every single one of my videos, and I think she's cute as can be. So I finished distressing the wheelbarrow. I used my good old chip brush. That is my favorite brush, and I actually just went a couple weeks ago and bought some more. Do you know that these are basting brushes from the Dollar General? That's what I use when I say my chippy brush. That's what I'm talking about. It's a basting brush that comes from the Dollar General, and that is the best brush to distress with. So guys, that is a little token of gold that I just gave to you, and it's because you know I love you guys. My favorite way to distress is to whip that brush across whatever I'm distressing really fast, and you do it with a really light hand. Like you are barely touching, the bristles are barely touching whatever you're distressing. And at last, to clean up my little wheelbarrow, I go over anything that I did with the black, and I'm just kind of tapping over it. I'm tapping back over it again with the mineral, and I even did just a little bitty bit of steel, not much. Now we're going to make some of those little jute carrots. Have you seen, you know, like the little tassels that we make, except for their carrots? I saw some on Pinterest, so I went to Amazon and I purchased these beads that came in different sizes. I will link them in the box below in case you want some. And what we're going to do is put 5 of each size into this little pan. And this is the way that I color my beads when I want to color them. I put them in the pan, and then I put whatever color, which in this case it's going to be orange, and you just shake them around back and forth, and it's going to distribute that color on each and every one of those. I used 2 different colors of apple barrel paint. One was like pumpkin, and one was called, I think, Orange Harvest or something Harvest. It's the 2 orange colors. And did you see how I just shook that back and forth? That's all I did, nothing else. And then I pour it out on my wax paper and I separate the beads and I just left them alone to dry. And when you do it on this method, they're not just saturated in the orange or the paint, so they dry pretty quickly. And I'm getting some tape, and I take my tape and wrap it around the very end of the jute cord because that way it doesn't fray when you're trying to put the beads on. All you have to do is take your beads, you start with the biggest size and push it on there, and then you go to the second biggest size, and I put 5, I had 5 different sizes, so I went down from the largest all the way down to the smallest size, and then tied my jute cord off on the top and the bottom. Guys, these make the cutest little carrots I have ever seen in my life. And all you have to do on the top is just like you do your tassel, you wrap the jute cord or the jute twine around your finger several times, and you're going to tie it off and then tie it to the top of your carrot, and then you're going to cut that. I'll show you in slow motion what I did. I tie the circle that I made from the jute cord around the top of the carrot, And then once you have it securely tied on there, you just take your scissors and cut it. And voila, there's the top of your little carrots. And then you just take your scissors and trim anything that doesn't look right, you know, to make it all the same size. And it makes the cutest little carrot. And then you take another little piece of jute cord and wrap it around the bottom of that you just cut. And what I do instead of tying it is I just glue it with my hot glue gun. And that allows, it holds the top of it together instead of letting those, the jute fly out everywhere or like fray out. It holds it together in a formation. And that's all you do, guys. And look at this, you have the cutest little carrot. Look how sweet they are. I made one with 3, one with 5 of the little beads. And then I put it inside my little wheelbarrow also. Is that not the cutest thing you've ever seen? The wheelbarrow turned out beautiful. And you see when I put that white wax on there, it just gave it a glow. It didn't really give it much color. It just gave it a little something. I can't really explain it, but it did give it a little bit of something. I absolutely love that little carrot. I think that's the cutest thing ever. And the wheelbarrow turned out beautiful too. Everything in this whole collection turned out beautiful. I'm really proud of it. Most of it came from a thrift store. Some of it came from Dollar Tree. And that's how I roll. I mean, I do everything on a budget, though. It's going to be, you know, anything I can find that's got a good price. I love thrift store. That's my favorite type. I love to flip stuff. I like to turn it into stuff that it was never meant to be. Like, you know, I like to take a table and turn it into, I mean, I don't know, turn it into a bookcase or something. I mean, I can take anything from the thrift store and turn it into something else and give it new life, and it's great. And it reminds me here this time of year during Easter, it's time for new life. I'm going to show you everything all together. Isn't it beautiful? I'm so proud of this. And guys, if there's anything I can do for any of y'all, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching till the end. And I thank you again. I will see y'all soon. And you have a very blessed day.